But
It's not.
like when my dad like completely cut me off to where like just, I mean, phone conversations was as much as I would get out of, you know. That's when things like really started to change, like
I knew that this was gonna happen, but it didn't.
especially with our relationship, because
Took a long time for
it sucked because like we had built like a really good relationship over like a year or two where I was doing well, and then when things started getting worse and worse, like, and then he finally found out, it was just devastating for me, you know, because clearly I was, you realize how much I was lying to him for like the last, you know, 7, 8 months and just hiding all this stuff, and I'm sure he felt like I didn't trust him. I'm sure there was a lot of things going through his mind during all that, and it really just warped our relationship. Trust was just gone, you know. I remember being really down about it. It's really close, and the last 3-4 months or so, we're starting to get that back, and just being transparent. Said like with him, just the good and the bad, you know, like if I'm having some rough days, there's times where like I don't want to tell him because I don't want him to worry about it, you know, but those are the days that I'm starting to push myself to talk to him about it, and you know, and then other people as well, but I'm mainly thinking like about my dad right now, and I think he's really coming around a lot, and that's a lot due to racing for recovery, because he's come to quite a few meetings before and gotten a lot of insight into why we do the things we do, and the lack of trust that we put upon like our family, and some of the destruction that we cause, and then it's really freaking hard for us sometimes to get ourselves out of that and then stay on the path once we're going through treatment and stuff. But I don't know, like seeing him on Father's Day, and my daughter was there. We were playing this game, like throwing Cheetos into each other's mouth, and we won. Like she threw like out of 15, she got 10. Like right, just like a laser, man. It was really cool, and we had a lot of fun, and it was just like seeing my dad watch us have fun and that cause, and then it's really like she threw like out of 15, she got 10. Like right, just like a laser, man. It was really cool. Stay with it. Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. Randall.
I really like this rule number 1 that I got going for this like story. Like the people that I like to surround myself with in my life are like people who want the best for me, people that want me to be a better person, and I want the same for them. They don't want me to keep acting like the way I was, like a child. They want me to actually grow up and to be an adult, you know? I just think like you just want to surround yourself with people that really want the best for you. Not people that are going to down you, talk behind your back. You want people that will actually care about you and listen to you when you're going through something. And I've never had people like that in my life. I've never had people that actually cared about me, gave a shit, wanted the best for me. And I don't know, it's just always something in this book that you get to read over. It doesn't matter, like, you could read this book like 5 times, and the 6th time you pick up on something new. And that's why I always like to come to these meetings, this book state meeting, is because you get to go back through and read over something you missed, and you're like, man, that really makes sense of how I'm living my life today. And it just puts everything into perspective, and really get to think about stuff in a positive light. So that's all I got.
Thanks, Randall. Jeremy?
First time I ever got in trouble, I was 12 years old. That's when my mother started enabling me. And it wasn't until recent I always wondered why I acted like a kid around her, because that's when she started carrying me. And that's led into, I'm 31 years old now, I've never not relied on my family for financial support. And what that did in my active addiction is it made me justify, oh, I can go do this now because they'll always be there to bail me out. it always fed my behavior that was very unbecoming, right? Lately, now that I try to be objective about my interaction with my mother especially, one, I'm trying to be aware of how I act around her. I try to act like a 31-year-old adult instead of a 12-year-old kid because I can very easily go back to that. And I try to be genuine about when I need her help. She constantly, like, she's conditioned to take care of me for so long, she still, like, makes sure, like, I have, you know what I mean? And I'm like, why does she act like that? Well, duh, because she always had to. And there was times where, like, if she didn't, it would probably be a lot worse of an outcome. So I like that this was brought up because now I'm actually conscious. I've never really been aware of that because it was never pointed out. I know there's people that can relate to that, like, why every time I hear around my mom, she's like, why are you acting childish? Well, because Mom, since I was 12 years old, you carried me on your back. And it wasn't just till, very recently I've discovered that and started to work on it. So I try to just be really conscious now of what I ask them for help with. And there's been times where I've turned their help away even though they wanted to give it to me because it made me feel better, knowing that I could do it on my own. I never used to do that, ever. So it's cool that this is pointed out because it kind of like reinstills that.
Thanks, Jeremy.
I really like this rule number one thing. I've actually had to deal with something like this with the whole enabling thing while in recovery. I mean, because the enabling from the past is left behind, right? So I've been seeking counseling elsewhere, and I've had to change counselors because my first one was kind of trying to baby me through things, I mean, one of the things we're supposed to do is address our trauma, right? So I ended up getting a new counselor, which makes me confront, the things I need to confront and whatnot, like to work on all that. Also, I want to expand on what Randall said. Pretty much everything he said, like with all this relying on people that want, nothing but good for you or want to better you while they're bettering themselves and stuff like that. But you also want people to call you out on your bull crap. That way that keep you accountable. I think that's a big thing to stop from the enabling and everything. So.
Thanks, AJ. Megan?
I wanted to touch on what Randall said too. But in my active addiction, I had a lot of enablers that kept me steady in active addiction. There wasn't ever a point that they really said no because, I used every excuse possible in order to get what I wanted. So now, like, rebuilding that trust and stuff is really difficult and it takes time. But like with my friends who got to know me sober, who's like the actual me, not full-blown addiction me, like they hold me accountable for the things that I say I'm gonna do, and that's like huge because it's like you said, like they enable me in a positive way. They're like, okay, you said you're gonna do this, so this is what you're gonna go do, and make sure that I do it rather than just co-sign my crap all the time.
Yeah. Some positive peer pressure.
Yeah, good kind.
Yeah. Dustin.
Me? Or the other Dustin? I like what Randall had to say. I want to start off with, I've never liked the word enabler because, in my experience, like anybody that like quote unquote enabled me, I coerced them. Like for my mother or any of my family members, I think of them more as victims of my manipulation because they were doing what they thought was best, so they weren't like. I think of them as victims of my addiction because the lies. I would say anything I wanted, true or not, to get what I wanted. So half the time they didn't know if I was telling the truth. You know what I mean? I've used every excuse in the book, and half the time my mom did stuff because she was terrified of what I was telling her. She didn't know if it was true or not, so she just did it. Not because she was enabling me, but because I was lying and manipulating her. And then, but in that same note, there, like what Megan was saying, there was people around me, like the friends that I had that completely enabled or supported my negative decisions, you know, and I wasn't, you know, I was all for those decisions. So when you got a bunch of people around you that are encouraging you to keep doing negative, it was just that much easier for me to keep doing it. And on the other side, like what Randall was saying, you know, so now I keep people around me that encourage my positive decisions and, you know, call me on my bullshit, kind of like what Megan was saying. If they see me veering off or doing something, they'll be like, you know, they're not afraid to stop me and say, hey, are you sure you want to keep doing that? Or you like, do you remember last time you did that? So like the people I'm choosy about who I keep around me anymore because of that reasons, because I don't need a bunch of people telling me yes. That was easy to get. You know, I want the people around me that are going to tell me no or like help me make those hard decisions and, you know, call me on my bullshit. Like AJ was saying, that aren't afraid to stop me when I'm doing something wrong. And over the weekend, I had a lot of people reach out to me that, you know, you're doing the right thing when like people you don't think are watching you or like paying attention to what you're doing, like reach out to you and say like, you're doing great, you know, like I had a lot of people reach out. It's my first Father's Day, so like I got a lot of random texts and, you know, it was just very encouraging to get to know that I'm doing the right thing because it's so easy to get, I get down on myself still, like, am I doing a good job at this whole dad thing or this recovery thing or, you know, like any little thing in my life, I still second guess myself, even where I'm at in my recovery at this point. And just getting those texts from people around me that support me and know I'm doing the right thing, you know, is just like, it was just great. And those are the type of people that I keep in my life today. And that's it.
Thanks, Dustin.
I'm done.
The big thing that I have just been realizing is the people like Dustin was saying that you keep around. I wasn't very choosy about who I hung out with when I first got sober at all. And I think that's one of the mistakes I did make in my sobriety, which is okay to make mistakes in your sobriety as long as you learn from them. Lately, I've been realizing that, like a lot of us have been talking about, people that co-sign our bullshit. And people that'll tell us straight up like, hey, you're kind of being an asshole, or hey, you probably shouldn't do that, or hey, blah, 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 blah. And I'd get really defensive about it. I'd be like, what do you mean? You're telling me I'm in the wrong right now? And my ego would blow up, and I'd be like, I am not wrong, but really I was really effing wrong. And it was, hearing that, because I'm not used to that, is something that was foreign to me. So that's why I'm thankful for the people in my life that do call me on my bullshit and make me stick to my word. Because I have a straight up good example about this is the other night, me and my girlfriend were hanging out and I told her I'd do the dishes. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do the dishes, I'll just do it tomorrow. And she's like, you told me you were going to do the dishes. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. She's like, well, you told me that. I was like, fine, I'll go do it. I threw a hissy fit like a child about doing the damn dishes. But the point of the story is she held me accountable for my actions. It might have been the dishes, it might have been doing the laundry, it could be anything. You can relate to anything in your life, but in my case it was the dishes. And I hated that at that moment that I felt like a child, but it made me grow. And that was the most important part about it, is growing from your faults and learning from them. And I love how we're talking about this right now because it just put me in my place again, which thank you. You guys do this every Monday. I love this. But I'm just like, man, I have a lot to learn. I'm still learning, and it's awesome. So thank you. Thank you for all this again. Jeremy.
I think as a member of Racing for Recovery and whatever you read, I think you almost have an inherent right to hold people accountable. First thing I did when I came in here is recognize the therapeutic aspect of peer accountability. Shit, Mike did it to me once in a meeting. You know what I mean? Because that's, peer accountability for me is a predecessor for self-accountability. I was never good at being self-accountable, so I need peer support to help me be more self-aware. And Dustin, we met like a year and a half ago at the men's meeting, and you didn't talk like that then. So speaking on people recognizing, like I see, you're like a totally different person. I respect that a lot. I look at people like you as, I need your cadence to get to that point. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
sorry, Damon.
This is my first meeting, and I'm kind of nervous about talking in front of a lot of people because I ain't never talked in front of this many people. But something's pushing me to participate, you know, not to just sit here and float through it, you know. My son was born on Father's Day, and his birthday is tomorrow, and I'm just fighting to stay clean, you know. And my dad, if I would have told my dad, yeah, give me some money for some dope, he wouldn't have gave me no money. I came up with every lie and excuse and scam I could to get it, you know. So, I don't know, I just wanted to say something, you know, tell you guys that I'm here and I'm trying.
Thanks, Damien. Thanks a lot. Kristen?
I really didn't have any outside enablers. I was my own worst enabler. Like, I did my own things. I didn't rely really on other people to get what I wanted. I just, you know, as far as, well, my parents aren't here, so I was pretty much kind of left to my own devices. And nobody, like my friends really never did enable me. And my current situation, my friends outside of here are huge support. I just went to dinner. I got to spend a lot of time with one of my best girlfriends this past week, helping her with her parents' estate sale. We have a lot in common. We both lost both of our parents in the same way. And it felt really good. We were friends before, but it felt so good to like be clear-headed and talk to her and be there for her. And then at dinner last night, our other best friend was there. The three of us were reunited. It felt awesome. And they were telling me how proud they are of me. And they just kept going in my face. I couldn't stop smiling. Like my muscles hurt. And that I haven't had that kind of feeling probably since Madeline was born, that kind of like happiness. So it was really cool. They're super supportive. They don't enable. They will call me out of my bullshit. And I'm very lucky.
Thanks, Kristen. Troy?
I was just say something. I kind of like Danielski, you know, with as far as like my mom, she's always been there for me, done everything for me, to the point where, I mean, even when I was younger, I always had the nicest clothes, you know, I'm the baby of the family, got taken care of pretty well. I mean, she did push, like, even like with us getting work and stuff, I started working when I was 12 years old, you know, on a regular basis, doing like 40 for and feed out pizza and things like that. And I kind of, you know, developed on how to do things on my own, you know. They helped me out, but even then, you know, I got my license right when I turned 16, had a car, you know, I worked for, paid for it, things like that. They had turned 18, I got my own house. And then I kind of, you know, I had morals and a line in the sand I would never cross. And then with my addiction, I caught myself doing things I said I would never do, crossing lines, manipulating, asking for things. And it became such a habit that even when I'm clean, I catch myself still doing it. Like it's something I still need to work on. You know, like even right now when I can't work with someone, buys my cigarettes, she does everything for me. And not just her, I have somebody else that if I ask, I can get anything. And I almost like it's not, like you said, enabling, but I'm almost still like have them, not manipulating, because I tell them, hey, I want a new outfit or whatever else. You know, I just talk.
Like you're a child.
Like I'm a child, you know, and it's like I got past that point. It was like I was spoiled, I got past it, and then I went way back in with my addiction, and I still carry the same tendencies and habits. And even just like with honesty and things like that, you know, I call myself being dishonest a lot when I was using. And now I'm clean, I still catch myself being dishonest sometimes, and not like owning my own shit. And so, I mean, it's something I definitely need to work on. But even then, my mom, even though, like I said, she enabled me, she helps me when I need stuff that I actually need or whatever. But she was the one by my side counting days with me. Like it says in there, you want people that are going to push you, you know, and try to like celebrate your accomplishments and things you work. She would come in the morning every day, call me, you know, day 14, you're at day 26, you're doing this, you know, literally patting me on my back for what I was doing and pushing me in the positive direction. but still, and it's one of the things where it's like I'm still a child, you know, I gotta, I mean, grow up. I mean, really. And I'm not a child anymore, you know, I'm about to be 30 years old next year, and it's just like, you know, I gotta reflect, and I gotta own my shit. I know what I'm doing, you know, I do it to a point, and then afterwards I realize that, like, you know, these are habits that I can break. These are things that I got a lot to work on. You know, I'm recognizing it right now, I guess, now that I'm trying to get some time under my belt, and then I'm recognizing it, and I got shit to work on. I got a lot of shit to work on. But it's some of the lines you cross in addiction that still, you play a part in your everyday life that you gotta work on. You know, you get sober and you gotta work on shit just because I'm sober. I still got a lot to work on as a person.
Half the battle is self-awareness, and you've made it there. So now you have to. The other half is putting in the work. So you have all the answers for yourself. So you're halfway there, man. So keep going. Jason.
When Dustin was talking, I just was like, I would say the word right before he said it, because I totally agree. Both my parents have passed due to poor choices of drug addictions. I am a manipulative, lying, conniving person when I'm using. There's nothing good about the quality of person when I'm using. Unfortunately, when we get sober, we take the drug away, and I still have all these bad habits, and that's where the work starts. I agree with the five pillars, and rule number 2. I know we're talking about rule number 1, but I think it's my responsibility for my recovery. I'm going to get out of it what I put into it. You know, if I'm still conniving, manipulating, and trying to get some bullshit, then I'm going to feel like crap. When I stop doing those things is when I get the inner peace. This is really, it really hit me hard when I don't have family. The only family I have is my kids. And I do not want them to end up like me. You know, I do not want them to go down the road I have. And I look at this like I'm in school right now to be the best person I can for Jason, but be for the best person I can be for my kids. Not only give them the stability that I never had in life, but also so I can be aware of when they're trying to, because I think some of this is genetics. I'm already catching like my 10-year-old he'll manipulate some stuff to get some stuff, and I'm like at first, like, because of the guilt of what I've done, I start falling, I'm like, well, hold on a second, you know what I mean? Because he'll play on that a little bit, and I do carry some guilt and shame, of course I do. I'm working on that. But it is my responsibility how I treat people. And if I'm manipulating and if I'm conniving to get something that I didn't work for or I don't deserve, I probably should check what I'm doing, because right after that, I usually go back out. So, I know for me I might not be totally responsible for my addiction, but I am totally responsible for my recovery.
There you go, Jason.
Evan Ecker.
I really like what Graham just shared. That was kind of where I was going with things. The shame I carried, which, shame is the way you feel about yourself, and guilt is, feeling bad that you did something to somebody or yourself. So I carried a lot of guilt, I carried a lot of shame for all the victimizing I did to get my way. And I agree with Dustin, it wasn't enabling, it was manipulation, victimizing, taking advantage of people. And when I stopped telling myself that I was a bad person, my life got a lot more peaceful, because I made a lot of poor choices, a lot of bad choices, and hurt a lot of people. And I feel guilty about it, 100%, but it doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Now my life is a lot more peaceful knowing that. And it's weird now. When I talk to my dad, because he was always the go-to person, and like I don't ask him for anything anymore, and if I do, and I have to, unfortunately, he said, yeah, right away, and I was like, I feel really bad. He goes, will you stop asking me stuff every day? Like, even sober, I'd ask him for $10 here, and $15 there, and $10 here, like, for nothing. And it's so much, it's rewarding when he goes, I forgave you a long time ago, and that felt really good. And, not only was my dad my victim, and my father my best friend, but for him to forgive me was super cool. And my life is a lot more peaceful not carrying around the shame of thinking that I'm a bad person, that I am a bad person. I'll pass.
Thank you, Nick. Randall.
I don't know, I was sitting here thinking, and a lot of people have been talking, and it just made me think about, like, a better life, and the people who you surround yourself with. And I know in my addiction, I was always surrounded by people who wanted the same thing that I wanted. They wanted to get high, and they wanted to drink, and I made it happen. So why can't we do the same in recovery? Why can't we have the same, like, if you see someone that has the same vision as you, surround yourself with that person and go for it. I know, like with my dad, he doesn't have the same vision as me. He wants me to get in the trades and work my life and be miserable. I don't want to do that. So why would I surround myself with that negativity and that like closed-mindedness to do something I'm not going to be happy with? My mom's the opposite. She wants the best for me, and she wants me to be happy. She wants me to find my true happiness, and that's my vision. My vision is happiness, like whatever that is. I want to chase that. I want to find that. I want that to embody my life, my lifestyle, and if that's just my vision. Everyone has their own separate things they want for their life, and whatever that is, like, just go after it or surround yourself with people that will help you get that. And I don't know, that's all I gotta say. Good shit, man.
Thank you, Randall.
I like what Randall was just sharing a lot about his future and, not settling for a job that he doesn't like. Been really debating the work thing a lot lately due to certain situations, and, I had quite a few people enable me when I was using, all my family and all the people that I thought were friends and that I truly valued. And, now that, when you go through jail and you get clean and, everything that I'm doing with my life today, it's extremely minimal, if not non-existent, of the people from my past that want me to do better. It's not everyone wants good for you, and it's hard to realize that, and it hurts to realize that. But now the people that I have in my life today, like, there's some particular people that I can just be brutally honest about any situation, no matter what it is. And, they don't look down on me and judge me, but they give me really good, advice or positive words and try to help me turn it around. And, I've never had people that I could actually talk to about some real shit. I'm probably one of the most goofy guys in here, but, I still got a lot of shit going on, that I need to talk to. Made some amazing friendships here that they're helping me see that I am worth having a better life and help me have self-worth for myself, like they don't want shit from me except my friendship and me to be an awesome person and help them to do their shit. Pretty fucking cool. I didn't think friends like that existed. It's amazing. It's really mind-blowing, and like I'm really having a hard time deciding what to do. Part of my one-on-one homework is list characteristics about myself, whether they're good or bad, my emotions and where I see myself going in my future. And it's weird because, like, I actually see a future for myself. Like, what the fuck? You know, it's crazy as shit. I wanted my future when I was younger. I wanted to get murdered when I was young and have one of the coolest R.I.P. shirts ever made, you know? Are you serious? Like, what the fuck was I thinking? You know, that I had no self-worth. I didn't love myself. I didn't have self-esteem. It's crazy being in this program associated with this facility in general, like, just how different your life can become, how different it's going to become. You know, it's hard to grasp just how cool the genuine people are around here and like how much potential I actually have. It's pretty fucking cool.
Thanks, Joe.
So, I really liked what Randall was saying about, family and stuff, and so I wanted to kind of like switch it, because my enablers, who I manipulated in my active addiction, have now become my supporters, and I felt like obligated to say this because I have people who take care of me still, because they want to see me get, receive, heal everything that I need to get while I'm in sober living in order for me to be successful out in the real world, not with a safety net underneath me. So I've been given opportunities by people who are genuinely there to support me throughout my sobriety, to maintain my sobriety, so that way I don't take on too much and get overwhelmed, because they can help me and they're willing to help me and they have faith in me, which is an insane thing to say, because these are people who I've lied to, cheated, manipulated, everything from them. But they all support me now, rather than enable me. They're helping me to better my life, because I've taken the last 12 years off of life. So they're helping me get back to where I want to be in life.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good twist. Thank you. Closing thoughts, anyone? Pat?
What's really difficult is when you aren't in an addiction or have an addiction, but through your life, there's been so many people in your family, friends, workers, who you've seen that have gone through this and have either died or just had a terrible life. What's difficult for me is I didn't want to be that way. And I was so afraid, and still so afraid, that if I take something, I'm going to become addicted. So I fight it. There are days that I have really rough days. And I think, yep, there's whiskey there, there's drugs there, I'm afraid of it. And my whole life I have fought that, because my dad was an alcoholic, 11 people in my family, relatives now. I am so petrified of getting on something that I fight it, and it's really difficult. So there are times at night, whatever, I either pray or I walk around or I read or I write or whatever. Anything not to pick up anything, except donuts and stuff. But it's difficult. You have ups and downs, lots of ups, lots of downs, things with your family. And I think, wow, if I could just get rid of this. Well, I could get rid of it. But I work so hard not to do that. So I know how hard it must be for someone who has an addiction, trying to stay clean. When I'm actually petrified. Like I said, the doctor gave me these pills,
Why does she need
and
two?
I
She's
flushed them down
looking
to
for
12. Well, then I found out how much they were. But I'm petrified. And, so it can go both ways.
Thanks, Pat. What you described there, though, is you found positive alternatives, such as walking around, reading, writing, donuts. Positive alternatives, though, and those are some things that all of us can take away from. You know what I mean?
It's difficult. I mean, there's, that's why I come to these meetings.
Yeah.
Because I keep on thinking, give me the strength, I can still do it.
Yeah. You've done it this far, you can keep going.
Oh, yeah.
The donut's not dope, right?
Yeah.
Patrick!
Autobiography in 5 short chapters by Portia Nelson. I walk down the street, there's a deep hole in the sidewalk, I fall in. I'm lost, I'm hopeless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. I walk down the same street, there's a deep hole in the sidewalk, I pretend I don't see it, I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It takes a long time to get out. I walk down the same street, there's a deep hole in the sidewalk, I see it, it's there, I still fall in, it's a habit. My eyes are open, I know where I am, it is my fault. I get out immediately. I walk down the same street, there's a deep hole in the sidewalk, I walk around it. I walk down another street.
Thanks for coming, everyone! Thanks for coming, everybody!